Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unleash Her. Hey, guys, I'm Roberta. I'm so glad that you're here today. And I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend today. But before we get into that, make sure that you like, follow, and hop on over to YouTube if you're not there at Roberta Campbell Official. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel because the more interaction that we have here, the more amazing guests that I can have like today. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my guest today. He is a leadership expert, an entrepreneur, and a military veteran who has consistently achieved at the highest level in both business and service. And he's the author of The Steady Leader: Leadership Models That Bring Clarity to Chaos. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Schuyler Williamson. Hi,
Hey,
Schuyler.
Roberta, it's Schuyler.
No, man.
That was so
This
good,
is
though.
so, I love this, you guys. We are not editing this because
Oh
that
my
is the
goodness.
one.
Hey, so good story. Great story to start with. I was a good ball player. I mean, in my resume, you might have saw it. You just left it out. I got the chance to play professional baseball, and but that wasn't my best sport. My best sport was football, and I played quarterback. And they would always say Schuyler Williamson brings them up to the line, like on the intercom, or if I hit a home run, Schuyler Williamson hits a home run. And so my nickname growing up was Shoot, yeah, which was fine. It's easier to say than Schuyler, but my mother would be so upset every time someone would say the name wrong because she would think, oh, they're just all wrong. And I'm like, Mom, literally, my nickname's Shoot. Everybody gets it wrong. I think we ought to check ourselves, like it's spelled kind of weird.
Yeah. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
You guys, by the way, we were talking for like 15 minutes before
Oh
this.
yeah. No, we're old friends now.
Yes. So welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Say it again. Now you got me all.
Yeah. Schuyler Williamson, like
Skylar,
Skyler, but it's
yes.
spelled super funny, and I'm the only one. The great thing is, I'm the only one in Austin, Texas, that Schuyler Williamson spelled the way that I am. So you can find me.
I bet it is for sure.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for being here today.
it's my pleasure. It's an honor.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and about why you decided to write this book.
Yeah, well, like you said, I've been an entrepreneur for a while now, but it kind of started early for me. I grew up in a very humble household. And my parents were hard workers. They they were kind of the old guard where you go to work and then you stay there and you work hard. And my father worked for over 30 years in a manufacturing facility and retired with a pension. My mother was a nurse for a family doctor for 30 years, and they just put their head down and they worked. And my parents are still married today, some of the most loving people and really hardworking people that I know. And so they set a beautiful example, but they didn't necessarily just walk right into wealth building, walk right into leadership. It took them a long way to get there. And I've been very blessed in my life. I've had some extraordinary coaches. I know you're a coach, Roberta. I've had extraordinary coaches my whole life. And so when I played ball, I learned how to be a great student of a coach, by playing team sports and having a coach always. And then I went to the professional level where every position basically has a coach that's niche for that position. So I got some really great access. Uh, when I was done playing baseball, I went into the military, and it was my first opportunity to lead where I think it really mattered, right? It mattered that I led and I was the team captain on the sports teams, but if we lost the game, it was okay, right? It was just a game, right? But in combat, it's not a game anymore. And so my leadership had high stakes. And so I became a proficient leader pretty quickly. Um, and I left the military eventually. In the military, I did the whole Ranger, Airborne, all the cool guy stuff. So I've got great stories, and I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. We could talk about that. But I just want to paint a picture of my journey here. I left the military because I wanted to have children, and I was fighting so hard in the military. I wasn't the guy pumping gas on the big base. I was living out in the wilderness, they say. I was getting blown up and shot at. And my wife knew some of that. She knew that. And so I wanted to have kids. And my wife was like, look, I love you and I'll be with you forever. But I don't want to have a kid and you not come home. That would be very hard on me and very painful and painful for the child too. And before she was even a mother, she was protecting her children. Right. And so we decided to get out of the military. And then I went into real estate, and I've been in real estate ever since. So I in that transition from the military, I went from this kind of really expert leader that knew his craft, that was built for the job that he did, to starting all over, not knowing anything about business, and building a business kind of bit by bit, then learning how to lead on the outside. Right? I found out that it's easy to lead in the military. Um, it's harder to lead when people don't have to say yes, sir, and salute you, right? Um, but I've learned how to lead in business now, and a leader has to continue to build opportunity for their teams. And so a couple of years ago, I was just praying, what is the next step for me, and what is the next step for my business, and what can I deliver to the world that's value added. And God put the word influence on my heart, and so I am an avid reader. I read a lot. So I went and read like 3 or 4 books on how to be an influencer. Right? I didn't care. I didn't even have really social media to that point. But I read their model for everybody, that how they built their influence, and they all wrote a book. And I was like, okay, well, if they all wrote a book, I'll write a book. Like, to me, like, I welcome hard work. I'm very willing to put my head down and do it. If that's part of the model that makes people successful, I'll do it. Uh, so in an effort to say yes, sir, to God, and go after that word of influence, and to provide value to the world, I wrote the book. And I can tell you how I kind of settled on the topic and everything, but that is the reason why I wrote it, is to continue to build opportunity for my teams, to garner influence where I can, and then just to provide value. We're always trying to provide value as entrepreneurs, and this is another attempt for me to provide value. And hopefully, when folks read the words on the page, not only does it make them a better and more steady leader, but they're like, well, who is this Schuyler guy? Let me reach out to him and see how I can get involved in his organizations or be a part of his team. I think it'd be a beautiful thing for someone to come to me as a talented person and already know a little bit about me, and kind of opt in to being part of our team. We're always looking for good people.
Yeah. How was the writing process for you?
Yeah, it took a little while to figure out what I wanted to do, and that it took me a little while to say, like, hey man, I'm trying to do this without a coach. Why don't I go hire a coach? And so my first coach was a ghostwriter, right? That had written numerous books before, that understood how to pull out the best in me, and make what I had in my head and the vision I had for that book, make it a reality. And so I hired a ghostwriter who took my mess of a manuscript, reorganized it, and then made me tell them better stories, and then put it together. And so she took something that I basically was just spinning my wheels for a year, and we were able to put together a really great product in 6 months. But it was important. It was important that I hired her, because I don't know that I had ever gotten to the finish line without her. Um, and so at first I hired her to be my writing coach. And when she was done with her job, then I hired another coach to help me brand it and launch it to the market. And I'm still working with that coach now on making sure that I'm delivering this book to the world the right way with meaningful value behind it, so that people can actually get their hands and experience it.
Wow. Can you tell us a couple of your most influential books that you have read?
Oh man, well, you know what? I'm reading a great one right now, The Five Pillars of Health of Wealth.
Okay.
Uh, it was fantastic. All of the oldies but the goodies, right? Like the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, the John Maxwell, basically any laws of leadership that he's written, or communication that he's written. All of those are great. Uh, I love the book. Great CEOs are lazy, or lazy CEOs. It's I read it a while back, but I remember the model. So I'm a models guy. When I read books, I'm consuming the models and applying them. And so these books that I'm sharing with you, I've applied all the models that I've learned from those books. Um, Try to think of another recent one. From the Lean Startup, I use models from that. From the book Positioning, an old book that was written in the 80s, I use laws from that. I mean, I just models from all these books. Yeah. I have a reading list actually on my website. People can go and download them.
Okay. Have you always been this driven?
You know, Someone asked me that not too long ago because I have two brothers. And he was like, I've got a hunch here, but are your brothers as driven as you are? And was that a result of parenting or not?
Mhm.
Uh, the answer is I've always been extremely driven. From as far back as I can remember, I've just been hungry. I think I was blessed to be very average in everything, but have the hunger to want to be extraordinary. And so every skill or talent that I've ever had, I've had to refine it to be anything more than average. And starting at a young age, I was hungry to be more. So I was an average student, but I always performed above average. I was an average athlete, but I always performed above average. And it was because I was the child that was always putting in a little bit extra effort. My high school baseball coach used to say, you can't be a 3 to 5 player, meaning practice was from the hours of 3 to 5. If you wanted to make it to the big leagues, you show up early and you work. You do practice 3 to 5, and then after that you work a little more. I mean, I've always been that guy.
So have you had that encouragement or that support around you, or was it mostly you? Was it just inside?
It was mostly inside, but I'll tell you this: my father never said no, and I try to do that with my children today because I know how much it mattered. So if I wanted my dad to throw the baseball to me in the backyard, he never said no. He always said yes. And my dad was a shift work guy. So sometimes I would ask him on a Saturday morning to do it, and he would have worked all night Friday night and had just gotten home at 8 in the morning. And I'm like, dude, let's go throw the baseball. And my dad would just say yes. Been up all night. And he would just say yes. And so I had an enabler, right? I don't think he created the hunger, but he certainly like fostered it. And that that he to this day he works in one of our businesses, and to this day he has the mindset of like, I'm going to enable Schuyler by doing what I can to help him out.
Yeah. And don't you think the best leaders are great um, leaders, but also great followers too? You have to be open.
Well, it's humility, right, Roberta? It you To be a great leader, you need to understand that you're not who you think you are, right? We're all flawed beings. And the second that you forget that, you start to make decisions as if you can't lose a battle. And look, I led a lethal force in combat. But when you go into someone else's territory, when you go to someone else's battlefield and you try to take the fight to them on their battlefield, they will be effective. And in business, if you're not humble, and you just think that you're going to go everywhere you want to go and win everywhere you want to win in the way that you want to do it, you will be humbled the hard way. And so I do think great leaders are also great followers, but that's because great leaders are humble and they know that there's always something they can learn. They know that their success is not always just about them, that it's the best organizations in the world or the best leaders in the world have the best teams, right? I used to like, Michael Jordan's not as special without Scottie Pippen. Now, Michael Jordan's special. He's the best to ever live and ever play the game of basketball, but he ain't as good as he is in history without Scottie Pippen. I mean, we all need someone. And I think the best leaders are the ones that are humble enough to acknowledge that. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah. And I just said the other day, I'm like, yeah, we talk about how many points he scored, but how many shots did he miss?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You've got, you have to keep trying. And that's a lot of us, we try something and it doesn't work. And then we give up so quickly.
Man, and there's so much value in a missed shot if you're just willing to pull that out. Right. In the lean startup, the book that I'd mentioned earlier, there's a loop in there called the build, measure, learn loop. And essentially, you build or you go do something, then you measure the success of it, then you learn from that measurement, and then you rebuild, right? So we're going to go launch this business and we're going to go execute our business plan, what we think is the right way to do things. We're going to measure the success of it. Whether we win or fail, we're measuring and then we're learning and we're rebuilding, right? So if we win, if we did better than we thought we were going to do, then we're going to learn from that and build so that we get more of that, right? So whether you win or lose, there's always an opportunity there if you're willing to go learn from it. And I was blessed to play baseball at a really high level. The beautiful thing about baseball is you get out 7 out of 10 times and you're still a Hall of Famer, right? If you just get 3 hits out of 10 at bats, you're a Hall of Famer. And that was a good training ground for me to just understand, like, be careful how you define success. Okay, success is not perfection. Perfection, actually, many wise people have said perfection is the enemy of progress. So it's not perfection. What we're really after is excellence. And what excellence is just bringing the best you have to bring this world every single day. You just bring your best every day, and that's excellence. Now, if you stray outside of that, if you give it half effort or half thought or half heart, however you want to say it, that's not excellence, and you shouldn't expect excellent results if you give it that level of participation. But perfection, it'll kill you. Like, I've got an 8-year-old son who has a hard time with anything that he doesn't do perfect. Now, he does most things perfect. That's the thing. He's extraordinarily smart. He's super athletic. He's a good looking little guy. He does so many things awesome. But then, the kryptonite for him is when he does something wrong, he falls apart. And that is a maturity thing, right? And that comes through seasoning of life, right? And leaders have to have that. They have to skin their knees up so that they know knees can be skinned up, so that you have a little bit more of a incentive to put some thought toward things. Because as leaders, we want to respond. We don't want to react. We want to respond. And to respond, you have to have some time to be thoughtful, right?
Absolutely. Do you think he looks up to you and sees all of your accomplishments and it wants, to impress you, to be like dad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he probably does. He probably does, and it's kind of a hard thing, right? As a parent, to I'm the leader of the household. I'm the leader of my business. I choose to be a leader everywhere I go. It's a choice, and when you make that choice, you have a big responsibility to go be a great leader. I'm pursuing excellence in all that I do. So yeah, I'm not super relatable, or I set a pace that's not really realistic for people to follow. It's actually one of the biggest leadership lessons I ever learned in life was you need to tell people that you don't expect the same pace out of them that you have for yourself. Like my pace is my pace. And here are my expectations of you. I don't expect you to run at the same pace as me. It actually could hurt you to run at my pace. Okay. It might create a life that you don't care to have. And you know, think about my son. Yeah, he sees dad making good decisions and not failing a lot, and you know, and that's because I'm kind of shielding some of my failures from him so that they don't hurt him too, right? Um, and yeah, I don't know. I probably have created that in him to some extent because you know, one of my friends once taught me that kids catch more than they're taught, right? They caught more than they were taught when they grow up. And so he's catching this pursuit of excellence from me, but thinking it of as perfection. And when he doesn't achieve it, yeah, no doubt he's hurt. He's hurt on the inside. I mean, he shows us it's a hard thing for him to handle right now. So the best thing that I can do is just help him work through that and just acknowledge that, buddy, we're not perfect. You know, what matters is you pursued excellence in that moment. And now let's learn from that failure. You know, that's what matters. It's that you got up after you got knocked down. That's what matters. It doesn't matter that you got knocked down.
Right. Right. And it is so important to show our vulnerability, to be vulnerable and to share with them. And I've been sharing some things with my kids that, you know, my daughter just said something the other day and I'm like, "Oh yeah, they are listening."
Oh, yeah, they're catching it all.
She's an adult, but I mean, something that she shared, I was like, "Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
uh,
that's beautiful, right? That
Yeah.
means they're paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody has, they have to figure it out and try it for themselves, you
Yeah.
know. So, and that's one thing I'm not afraid of is I'm not afraid to jump and to put myself out there. And
Yeah.
so whatever it looks like, I'm willing to learn from, I don't like to say mistakes or failures, but
Yeah.
lessons. We'll call it lessons. I love
Yeah.
it. I love seeing this because it just,
Yeah. Well, there's no progress in it without action.
Mhm.
So you have to take
Right.
action. You have to put yourself out there, right? Or else you will stay safe, maybe, right? So in the military again, like I've translated so much of the military into just the normal life now. So bear with me if this is just like too much, but you know, in the infantry, we maneuver to destroy the enemy. Um, and the worst thing that you can do is sit still behind what you think is a safe structure. Because the whole time that you're sitting still, the enemy is maneuvering. And at some point, they will put themselves in a position to assault and destroy you. I mean, and that's life, right? If you just sit comfortable and you sit still, you run the risk of being destroyed and living a very mediocre life. I mean, we've got to take action. If you want to be somewhat special, right? If you want to do big things, if you want to accomplish a purpose that's worth living for, you've got to take action. You just do. I mean, it's life doesn't reward the person that sits still,
Right.
right? And we've been given gifts, right? And we should steward those gifts, which means go do something.
Yeah, because we do have gifts. We have these superpowers,
Yeah.
right? How do people, if they're like, I just don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what my superpower is.
Well, ask your friends. Like, hey, what would you say my superpowers are? Or ask your parents or ask anyone that's close to you. What would you say my superpowers are? And lean into that. I mean, they know if they've spent time with you, there are if they care to spend time with you, then there are things that they love about you. They will tell you those things, and those will be your superpower. Now, the responsibility is okay. Once I know my superpower, how do I use it to provide value for this world? And hopefully, I can provide value to the world that they'll actually pay me for, so I can make a living and support my family. But but yeah, I would just ask my friends. That's the easiest way to do it. I mean, the other way that you can do it is look to your past and say, in all the highlights of my life, what allowed me to make that happen? You know, what are the intangibles that allowed me to create that highlight for my life? You know, one more way that you could look at it too is the Stephen Covey funeral exercise. You know, if I was a fly on the wall at my funeral, what would I expect everyone in this kind of the stands to be saying about me, right? And you know, maybe run through those three different ways. But most people know, they know what they feel comfortable and what they're good at. They just, you know, maybe their confidence is in a position where they're just not even willing to say that nice thing about themselves. I mean, I find that sometimes there's some work to do on your confidence, so that you can step into that leadership role, or step into that role that you maybe don't think that you deserve, but you really are the best person for that role. You know, and so we need to work on that confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. And the confidence is being bold, also getting yourself out there.
Yeah,
But I think the thing for me that changed, because I mean, I grew up going to church and but it didn't really I didn't really step into this until I would say right around 50,
yeah,
to where I actually was baptized again, and I wanted just a fresh start. And they're like, you don't have to be baptized again. I said, I know, but I want to. Like, I
yeah.
want this is
Good.
huge for me.
Yeah, good for you.
And when
No,
you learn,
yeah, I mean, how when you so I think parents are uniquely qualified to kind of bring this perspective to yourself. Like we love our children, right? We would give our lives easily for our children. Doesn't matter if they abuse us verbally. It doesn't, like, none of that matters. We would gladly give our lives for our children. It's in our wiring. And then when you put yourself in a position where you say, you know what, I'm God's child. I'm his unique, beautiful creation. And just like I would I would give anything for my child, he would give anything for me. And when that love is experienced, again, just in the way that we're wired, we want to give that love right back, right? If I pour love into you, Roberta, you have no other option than to just pour love back into me. I mean, it is the way that we're wired. And so we want to pour love back into God. And the way that we can do that is step into the purpose that he has for us. Just step into it. And it's not about perfect. See, the thing is what most people get hemmed up on is they say, well, I'm not going to be good enough at it, or I'm not perfect at it. And that's not what it's about. We have beauty in our flaws, and we can bring people along with us by showing them how to overcome adversity and how to live a flawed life beautifully, right? Like and you can lead that way. But I love that you went and got baptized again, because you're acknowledging that relationship, you're acknowledging that love, and basically when you did that, you're saying, you know what, you love me, so I'm showing up for you. I'm about to pour love the way that you want me to out into this world, and this is my public declaration for that. So I love it. It's awesome. I'm proud of you.
thank you. And I think a lot for that too was that I felt in the past, I was very lonely at times.
Yeah.
You know where I'm coming here. And so after this, after stepping into this and really accepting, God and this beautiful life, I was like, you will never feel alone ever again.
No, no, it's so funny. This morning, I love how the Holy Spirit works, because I'm prepared to talk to that exact spot. I On the 16th, here in a couple of days, I'm speaking to my kids, both kids, school, about Memorial Day and why, how soldiers feel about it and why it's important. But in this week's newsletter, I send a newsletter out every Friday. Um, I'm I'm going to talk a little bit about Memorial Day, but I'm going to talk about courage. And the thing is that fear stops people, right? It stops people until you acknowledge that there's another person in the room with you, right? Like you have, just by saying the words, you have the ability to bring Jesus right here to your life, and he will be with you. And most people will say, well, I prayed to Jesus and he didn't take away the fear. Well, you know what? He didn't want to take away the fear. Courage, being courageous doesn't mean that you don't have fear. Being courageous means that you move even when you have fear, that you have bravery. And bravery is strengthened, and courage is strengthened every time you operate, even in the face of fear. And as Christians, we should be bold to take action, even in the face of fear, because we got Jesus right behind us, holding us, protecting us, encouraging us, equipping us, like all along the way. And yeah, I just think like my son again. You just talking a lot about my son today, but like he's a young guy, and he has fear at night. And I'm like, baby, it's okay. You just say, Jesus, will you be in this room with me? And he will be there. He may not take away the fear, but babe, he's turning you into a warrior. He is strengthening that bravery in you. He is building that courage in you, and you are going to be one of the most fierce leaders that are out there, because you're just getting stronger every night. Every night that you lean on Jesus and you face that fear, that bravery is getting strengthened, and you're going to be a real strong man one day because of that. And I just like, man, I just love that. I love that message of courage, in what you said, right? Like you're taking action, um, even though you felt a little lonely, but right? Like now you're not alone. That's fear, and you're just taking action. I'm going to be courageous in this moment, and you know what? The next time that you have this fear, you're going to have more strength because you've already faced it before. Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's so good. And that fear, uh, it's that challenges you
Yeah,
to move out of fear to faith. And when you do, we make it sound so easy, but it's this has been a process, years of process.
yeah,
And the more you do, you gain your confidence. You're just like, I can do anything. The
you
things
really can.
we
You
can.
really can. Yeah. Well, and listen, like this is where like life experience really helps you out. You have feelings, and those feelings are meaningful, and you should use those feelings and be grateful for them. If you have fear, that means that there's something that's unknown, right? Like there's something unknown that scares me for my survival. Uh, so the question would be, well, how can I discover that? Right? Like, how can I uncover the unknown so that I'm not fearful for that anymore? Right? Or if I'm anxious, then I might not have a good enough plan. So I need to plan a little bit more, right? And those feelings, fear, anxiety, worry, those feelings are all about things in the future that haven't even like come to today yet. Anger, right? Frustration, all of that stuff that's based in the past. Steady leaders are people that are able to slow time down almost, to acknowledge that I actually have more time to make this decision or more time to respond in this conversation than it actually feels like I have, and to put some thought into that moment so that you can be more thoughtful and to respond to it appropriately. And that same like being in the moment, being in the present is where enjoyment is too. Like, you know what? Tomorrow is going to be a crazy day, but I got today, and my son's right here with me. And so I'm going to enjoy my time with him. And tomorrow's worries, I'm going to handle those tomorrow, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll address that tomorrow. But like today, I'm going to love today, right? You got to get out of the past, you got to get out of the future so that you can be the best leader you can be in the present, and then also enjoy the life that you have. When none of us are promised tomorrow.
Right? I know. I seriously, I say that all the time. And it is today. But So I'll tell you, I spent almost all of 2024. I said, be still. I had to
Yeah.
just be still. And there's a time in your life for that, that you're
Mm.
just reading and listening and sitting there trying to figure out, what it is. What is it that I want? And once I found that out, I'm like, okay, watch
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm
Totally. I mean,
finding that clarity, and I believe I find that, and that you can find that through faith.
yeah. Well,
So,
yeah. I mean, it's a big part of it. It's a
yeah.
big part of it. To be a healthy person, yes, you have to have some mental health, and yes, you have to have some
Mhm.
physical health. But I think it's more important that you're spiritually healthy to be a human that's healthy. Like you're not living a healthy life unless you're spiritually healthy, right?
That is for sure. Yeah. So what is next for you? What is your what are you what are you going to do that you are afraid of? Or do you have fear?
Oh well, we all have fear. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the unique motivator that God gives me is the word disappointment. I don't want to disappoint the people that I love and care for, and so man, I know that word comes off with a negative connotation to it, um, but I would move mountains to not disappoint my wife. I would move mountains to not disappoint my children. I'd move mountains to not disappoint my team. And so it's not fear for me. Or maybe it is the fear of disappointment. That's what I get to encounter every single day. But no, what's next for me is we're going to grow. We're growing our empire here in Austin, Texas, in real estate. We're growing our franchise in laundry, and I'm going to grow my influence along the way so that I can create not only opportunity for my team, but hopefully I can help as many people with the time left that I have on this earth that I possibly can. And so that is my mission. If there was a fear that I'd have, it's a fear that I may not do it as well as I hope to. You but that's not going to stop me from trying, because God's either going to gift me with lots of success and then I'm going to steward that, or God's going to slow me down with less success, and I'll just enjoy my life the way it is. Either way, it's His will, not mine. I'm just going to love. That's what I'm going to do every day. I'm just going to go out and love and just give it my best.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's what's made you so successful too,
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, that's why people want to hang around with me. It's because they know that I'm going to love them, and I'm
yeah.
safe. I'm a safe place for a lot of people. And that's, man, when you're a safe place for people, that's where true connection can actually happen. And that's where a lot of, I talked about the book, The Five Pillars of Wealth. Social wealth is one of the five pillars. And when you can connect with someone when they feel safe, there's so much wealth in that connection. Um, Even when you're kind of an introverted guy like I am, I'm great one on one, and I'm behind a screen right now, so I can be social, right? But I'm not super social. But when I can connect with people at that deep of a level, there's just so much wealth in that, and it just fills my life. And so it's we should strive to be that, and the way that you are safe for others is when you lead with love, right? I don't make people earn my love. I just give it to them, you know, and they can abuse me, and that's fine. If that's how it ends up, that's fine. But you're going to get my love, no matter what. You're going to get it, and we go from there.
Yeah. Where can people find your book?
Okay, so the book can be found at thesteadyleader.com. All right. If you search my name, it's a unique spelled name. Looks like Schuyler.
Yes, it does. It does.
If you search my name, the book will come up too. But yeah, it's thesteadyleader.com. It's on Amazon, and we launched it 2 weeks ago, and it's actually doing really well. And I'm very grateful and blessed that people are enjoying it and they're picking it up. And I just hope that it helps people's lives. I mean, that's really what I hope it is. And when you're a steady leader, again, you're a safe leader. And when you're a safe leader, watch the innovation go through the roof, watch retention go through the roof, watch productivity go through the roof. When your people feel safe, they move fast. And that a lot of times that's what you want. You want them to take action and just make progress toward the vision. And to get the most out of that, you need to be a steady leader.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love this.
Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for being here today. I'm glad we got your name right. I finally got your name right.
Me too. Well, hey, it's part of the journey, right? You
Yes.
weren't the first, and you will not be the last, my friend.
Love it. Ah, thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Hey, it's been a pleasure. And make sure to like and subscribe so we have amazing guests like this one today. Schuyler, that looks like Schuyler, but Schuyler Williams' son. We got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you
Thanks.
all again. And until next time, have a great day.